hola mi gente, bienvenidos at the Global Latin Factor Podcast, where we talk about Latino everything and celebrate Latinos from all walks of life, all across the world, making their impact across the globe. My name is Crispin Valentin. I am your host. Today, we are spotlighting three Latin American scientists whose ideas literally saved millions of lives, changed modern medicine. Carlos Juan Finlay from Cuba, Luis Federico Leloir from Argentina, and Baruj Benacerraf from Venezuela. Latinos didn't just change science, they rewrote the entire rules of the game, public health, metabolics, and the immune system. If you ever avoided a deadly disease, if your body uses food the way it's supposed to, or if vaccines and transplant works the way they do, this is their fingerprints all over. So let's dive into it. Let's start in Cuba in 1881. Doctors are battling a terrific killer, yellow fever. No one knows what's causing it to spread. Some say it's the bad air, some say it's bad clothes. Some people are so desperate they don't know what to do. Then comes Cuban physician named Carlos Juan Finlay, steps up and says, it's the mosquitoes, specifically Aedes aegypti, the transmitting yellow fever. Imagine the courage. Everybody doesn't know what's going on, and he knows, because when he first presented his idea, most people didn't believe him. He was ignored and even ridiculed, but Finlay was obsessed with the evidence. He designed carefully experiments, tracked cases, and never let the laughter stop the science. Years later, around the 1900, the U.S. Army Yellow Fever Commission comes to Cuba, tests Finlay's hypothesis, and confirms the man was right the entire time. That moment changed public health forever. Now we know, control the mosquitoes, control the disease. A Cuban doctor was laughed at for 20 years. Then his idea saved millions of lives. And it didn't just save lives in Havana. No, the discovery made a massive project possible. Remember the Panama Canal? Early attempts failed largely because workers were dying of yellow fever and malaria. With Finlay's insight, guided mosquito control, the canal could finally move forward. That's public health turning into world infrastructure. He taught us that understanding transmission is the key to prevention. That mindset fueled everything from epidemiology to how our response to emerging diseases. A fun fact about Finlay, his papers were so ahead of his time that he literally watched his own ideas be validated later, but he never wavered. He was patient. His patience was legendary, and the lesson, science takes courage. Carlos J. Finlay turned a tiny mosquito into the biggest public health wake-up call in history. Next stop, we go to Buenos Aires. The year is 1970. The award, Nobel Prize in Chemistry. The scientist, Luis Federico Leloir. Now, when people hear sugar nucleotides, they like, Crispin, what is that? That's like some kind of technical term or something, bro. No, what it is, let's just make it very simple. Leloir discovered how our body links sugars together, builds the essential molecules. Think of glycoproteins and glycolipids using special sugars, activated carriers called sugar nucleotides. Why does that matter? Because life is built on how our cells are assembled and modified molecules. Your metabolism, your cell communication, your hormones, your immune signaling, so much of that depends on how sugar gets added to proteins and fats. Leloir revealed a core biochemical pathway that explains how that makes the stuff that makes us live. Leloir taught us that how the body snaps sugar together like Legos so life can build itself correctly. His work didn't just stay in textbooks. Understanding sugar, nucleotides, and carbohydrates biosynthesis laid the foundation for diagnosis and studying metabolic disorders, designing biotech processes, and push forward modern medicine where glycosylation, adding sugar to molecules, is very crucial. And the legend of Leloir was another layer: humility and hustle. His early lab conditions were famously modest, and his whole team were known to be very resourceful Latinos, building a world-class science with very limited budget and letting curiosity lead. Now, Leloir's group jokingly called their early space La Casita, the Little House, a humble setup that produced Nobel-level discoveries. It's the ultimate, si se puede, and no excuse energy type of vibe. When you eat pan dulce, arroz con frijoles, or, vamos a ver, you process all that food, just remember the repurpose of that sugar comes from his studies. Leloir decoded the central part of that chemistry. Without that understanding, we'll be guessing how cells build the sugar architecture that keeps us alive. From a Little House lab to Argentina Nobel Prize, Leloir mapped the wiring of life's sugar code. Finally, nos vamos a Caracas origins with Baruj Benacerraf, who shared in 1980 a Nobel Prize in physiology or medicine for revealing genetic control of immune response. Here's the essence: your immune system isn't a one-size-fits-all. Some people respond strongly to vaccines or an infection, and others respond completely different. Why? Genes. Specifically, genes that code cells' surface structures, the major histocomplexity complex, MHC, in animals and HL in humans, that helps immune system prevents antigens that decide how to react. Benacerraf worked alongside with colleagues Jean Dowsett and George Snell showed that immune reactions are genetically regulated. So boom, now we understand why organ transplant needs matching. Oh yeah, why some autoimmune disease track with certain HL types, and how vaccines and immune therapies can be designed with genetic diversity in mind. Benacerraf proved your immune system has a genetic steering wheel, and that changes vaccine transplant and cancer research. Before this, we knew the immune system was powerful, but after this, we knew how and why it behaves differently from person to person. That clarity drives modern precision medicine, treatments tailored specifically to you. Now, here's a fun fact about Benacerraf. He came from an international background in Venezuela and educated across continents, so he became a leader in American biomedical research. It's an amazing story, a perfect immigrant story, the global roots from global roots to global impact. So what connects Finlay, Leloir, and Benacerraf? Each one saw the invisible. Finlay saw an invisible vector, the mosquito, driving a deadly epidemic. Leloir saw the invisible chemistry, sugar, nucleotides, powering the cell's construction, and Benacerraf saw the invisible instructions of genes directing immune reaction. Latino science is about seeing what others overlook and turning the vision into life-saving truth. Their superpower wasn't luck, it was discipline, imagination, and persistence, the courage to be early and the patience to be right. If today's episode inspired you, make sure you share with somebody, con alguien who needs to hear about this. And if you do share, por favor, tag us at the Global Latin Factor. And remember, you can always reach us at our email as well, info at the Global Latin Factor. Drop a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and tell us what discovery blew your mind. Finlay's fight against the yellow fever, Leloir's sugar state of mind, or Benacerraf's genetic compass for immunity. Gracias, mi gente, once again for checking out another video, another episode of the Global Latin Factor podcast, where we highlight amazing Latinos, our amazing excellence, our brilliance, and our global impact. And remember, we are just like you. We are people. We are the spice and flavor in this melting pot that it is the world. Till next time, paz.